Hey everyone, welcome to my Espresso Live. Hope you're well. Thank you so much for watching, whether you're watching live, after the event, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, wherever you're consuming it. Thank you so much. Appreciate also all of the DMs, questions, comments, and feedback and stuff. So please keep them coming. I really appreciate it. Today, I wanted to go into the importance of human skills. Like what kind of human being are you? It's so important. We spend so much time learning like the hard skills, so like the technical requirements of a job, but not as much time going into like developing your human skills. They're not really taught at school, not taught at university. Most companies don't really go real deep into the training for human skills. The odd lecture course now and again, but not like technical skills. I think it's so important. And if you think about who the best performing people you've ever worked with are, like who are the people that you trust, you galvanate to, that you want to be like, the people that you want to emulate. Those people that are just, they've got your back and you'll follow them, and they're often not necessarily the people who are the best at the job. They're not always like the top performing salesperson. But they're the ones with like those really good human skills. And I think, so much of the time, those top performers are promoted into the leadership roles, the management roles, but not always suited to it. Some of these people just want to be individual contributors. And it's identifying the people with the great human skills that will probably be good leaders. And I think the human skills is something that we can all practice, learn, identify with and stuff. And, for me, it's about, and I've spoken about this a lot, being the CEO of your career, taking ownership, taking charge. And if I think about, the stuff that I would recommend people work on, it's those human skills, really going to carry you forward. Good listening, empathy, how to have difficult conversations, how to have confrontational conversations without it turning into an argument. If you think back this past 18 months, 2 years, there's been so many like really interesting, important things that have been going on in the world. Obviously, we've had COVID, people's anxiety levels have gone up. We've had Black Lives Matter, lots of conversations around diversity, equity, inclusion, work from home, burnout, so many topics which are very emotive, important to speak about. And teaching people the ability to have these difficult conversations in a constructive way, the conversational competence, a lot of people call it, really, really important stuff. And, I think it can be learned. So we need to teach human skills better. And for us, thinking about our own development, we can certainly seek out ways to improve this. So that's what I would do, really double down on it. Sometimes your company will do it, but I'm not convinced companies are doing enough. And so, if you are leading a company, I would think about really getting some good people in to teach your team, your employees, develop your leaders and managers, and double down on human skills. Really, really important. The stuff that I think is important that we can work on, and a lot of leaders are saying to me, hey, Lewis, these are the things I'm looking for. These are the human skills. These are the skills that I've identified in our best performers, like the best leaders that I'd like to find, like almost like the superpowers. Positive attitude, and maybe that's been even more accentuated over lockdown and COVID. Many people are at home. And they found it tough, right? And the people, that this positive attitude, and it can be fostered, it can be developed, you can do things to improve it, but make sure you have a positive attitude. Communication, really, really important. You've got to be very intentional now with your communication with your team members, with your line managers, with your team members, the whole thing. It's got to be very intentional. If you're not back in the office full time, or if your team are virtual, many companies have gone fully virtual, many people work in global companies, and you've got to be a lot more intentional now with the communication. Listen, really develop, and I'm working on that myself for sure. Is ask great questions, listen, and if you listen, you start to learn, you start to understand, you get a clearer picture, you can empathize more with people. Stems into everything. Teamwork, I think, is again another really, really interesting thing to work on. Make sure that you're there for people, make sure you're there for your teammates. People might need help, ask people how they are, be there for your team and they'll be there for you. Self-management is another one which I think is worth really working hard on. A lot of people have been reimagining, why am I living to work? They're trying to reimagine like what work and life is and how it fits together. And most people's homes now is where they work, live, stay healthy, sleep, earn money, the whole thing. So much of it's online now. And it's different, people's routines have changed, and self-managing, like sticking to a routine, finding a routine that works for you, staying productive. Lots of people say publicly they're more productive at home. Lots of people say privately they're not so productive at home. The point is everyone's different, and so if you can think about and take a moment, like what works best for me, experiment, and then stick to something, have a great ground game, like stick to your structure, turn up for meetings on time, virtual or otherwise, and manage yourself in the best way. Being willing to learn, clearly it's always on someone's list of things to develop. The world is changing at an incredible rate, whether you're learning new digital skills, whether you're learning how to manage yourself or whatever it might be, just be open to learning. Things change. Just because something worked for you last year doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be working for you this time. So be open, try things, experiment with stuff. Thinking skills as well, I think, is really important. So much has happened. Again, this like COVID, think of COVID, right? Everything locked down and everyone was like reacting. It's about reacting and changing business models. And then eventually it was like, right, let's stop reacting. Let's start acting. Let's start being proactive. And these thinking skills, problem solving, being able to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations, not knowing what's happening next week, another lockdown, for no fault of your own, your industry is shut down, and a lot of things, and just being able to like think, take a breath, think through problems in a clear way. The leaders that were able to do that, really came out well. And so there's bound to be many more difficult things, challenges, obstacles that come in all of our way, over the years. And so the ability just to pause, take a moment and think clearly, so worth working on. Final point for me, overused a lot, but resilience. Learning how to be resilient. I think it's something you can learn. You can put yourself in tough scenarios. You can do like exercise. You can do, endurance stuff. A lot of different ways to like build up your resilience. Build up your self-esteem, things like that. And I think really worth working on. Having an exec coach, and I've got one, brilliant. We should all have someone to help us. And either whether it's, the other thing is building a personal board of directors, so it could be like one coach you work with, or it could be a group of people, mentors, board of directors with different skills. If you build a nice group of people around you, that are just genuinely open to speaking with you, helping you, it can be a sounding board for you. You can learn from them. It's really, really invaluable because, we all need a little bit of help on the way. And it can really help us build on all of these different skills. So hopefully you find that helpful. Love to hear your thoughts and comments. But my message right now is just quadruple down on improving your human skills. And I think it will really stand you in good stead for what's to come. Have a good one.